It's Tuesday, January 12th, and this is now on HNN.
Well, we're about to be done with Donald Trump.
Lawmakers are concerned after the FBI warns of an armed protest planned at all 50 state capitals.
The impeachment hoax is a continuation of the greatest and most vicious witch hunt in the history of our country.
Democrats on Capitol Hill say they want President Trump ousted from office. I'm Skyler Henry with the latest on impeachment talks and calls for Vice President Mike Pence to step in.
Here at home, Maui County proposes new restrictions as a COVID cluster grows.
I think it's been very difficult on the athletes knowing that they've been focused on 2020 their whole lives.
Plus, an update on the Olympic Games planned for Tokyo. These stories and more coming up on This Is Now.
Good afternoon. Thank you for watching This Is Now. Jonathan and Ashley here coming to you from the HNN Digital Studio. We have breaking news from the State Department of Health.
Health officials are reporting 114 new infections today and no new fatalities. The breakdown by island shows 4 cases on the Big Island, 21 on Maui, 83 on Oahu, and 6 out of state. Let's take you live now to Washington, D.C. President Trump made his first public appearance since last week's deadly Capitol riot. This as the House is considering 2 measures that call for the president's removal from office. Skyler Henry is on Capitol Hill with more.
I think it's causing tremendous danger to our country.
President Trump is lashing out at congressional Democrats as they prepare an impeachment vote on charges of inciting last week's assault on the Capitol.
It's been analyzed, and people thought that what I said was totally appropriate.
On Capitol Hill, House lawmakers began consideration of a resolution asking Vice President Mike Pence to invoke the 25th Amendment to remove the president from office.
Our nation, our democracy, and our freedom cannot risk another day of the Trump presidency.
I think this resolution is misguided and inappropriate for the legislative branch to pursue.
Democratic Congresswoman Norma Torres described an emotional call with her son during the hours-long riot. 5 people died, including 1 Capitol police officer who was viciously attacked.
All I could say, sweetheart, I'm okay. I'm running for my life.
Senior officials tell CBS News the vice president is unlikely to invoke the 25th Amendment, setting a stage for a full House impeachment vote as early as Wednesday. Some House Republicans are instead calling for the less severe step of censuring President Trump, which would not result in his removal from office.
The authorities have seen online desires to come back to Washington and to go to other places to cause more trouble and more violence.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is calling for known rioters to be placed on the no-fly list. Skyler Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
New at noon, we just talked to Senator Brian Schatz, and he's reacting to President Trump's latest comments.
Well, we're about to be done with Donald Trump, and I think the main thing that we need to gather ourselves around on a bipartisan basis is that we conduct elections and the loser concedes and the power is granted by virtue of the Constitution and the votes that are counted. And so I look forward very, very much to the point in time at which we don't have to worry. And when I say worry, I mean really worry about what the president is going to say. What he did today was unhelpful, but absolutely to be expected. He will continue to not just take no responsibility, but he will likely make things worse.
Check out these new images into our newsroom. There are signs with messages of support for U.S. Capitol police officers lining the tunnel between the Capitol and the House office building. This is all in the wake of the January 6th Capitol attack. Hawaii Public Safety Department says it has not heard of any credible threats to the state capitol here, but lawmakers are still worried. Mahealani Richardson has the latest.
The FBI bulletin warns of a huge uprising at all 50 state capitals starting this week and leading to President-elect Joe Biden's inauguration on January 20th. Now, the state says it's taking appropriate steps to ensure security at the Hawaii State Capitol and government buildings across the state.
More
State sheriffs lowered flags at the state capitol to honor the 2 U.S. Capitol police officers who died after last week's riot.
It was very emotional for me and chicken skin to see that go down.
Social media posts like this are now calling for armed marches on Capitol Hill and all state capitals on January 17th at noon, triggering an FBI warning.
Authorities and law enforcement are aware of the concerns.
House Majority Leader Della Albaladi says leaders in the House and Senate are concerned. The state capitol building is closed to the public because of the pandemic, but the rotunda is open.
I think with the increasing discourse and incivility, at the last session, we had members of the public banging on the glass windows of the Senate chambers.
There's a lot of construction at the state capitol, and right now workers are upgrading the security cameras.
We are one of the most dangerous capitals in the United States.
For years, House Minority Leader Gene Ward has proposed changes in the rotunda because he believes the open floor plan leaves lawmakers vulnerable to attack.
Let's take these huge planters, there's 3 on this side, 3 on the other side, and we block off the entrance.
On January 17th, a spiritual walk will honor Queen Liliuokalani and commemorate the overthrow in 1893. The event will be live streamed and is only permitted for up to 50 people in the early morning. Kumu Brad Lam says he's worried about safety and a potential clash with Trump supporters.
I was so scared. I'm asking everyone, whoever's going to attend the AHA, to not come between 12 and 5 because of that clash.
State Senator Kurt Favela condemns the violence and believes Hawaii is a safer place.
Hawaii is the hardest state to get and to bear arms, period. They would not come and jeopardize that. And I really believe what is saying on social media, what they're doing, they don't really know the atmosphere of Hawaii.
Besides the inauguration, January 20th is also the opening day of the legislature. Unlike big celebrations of the past, ceremonies will be scaled back and public meetings will be virtual because of the pandemic. Mahealani Richardson, Hawaii News Now.
We've learned that Big Island Mayor Mitch Roth suffered a heart attack on Saturday. A spokesperson says doctors implanted a stent and Roth is in good spirits at the Hilo Medical Center. No word on when he will be released. Managing Director Lee Lord is serving as acting mayor. An outbreak on Maui continues to grow at the Harbor Lights condos. Lacey Denise has more on what officials say is responsible for starting the cluster.
Maui County officials say nearly 100 cases are now tied to the Harbor Lights condominium in Kahului. At last check, we were told another 57 infections are from Pacific Islanders. And almost 40% of all Maui cases since December 29th fall into either category. The county says the Harbor Lights cluster started with a holiday singing practice in late December. And as Maui deals with more cases, officials are proposing additional restrictions, but businesses won't be shut down.
And after consulting with the State Department of Health, Dr. Charles, the Director of Health, and the Governor, it was determined that closing businesses will not solve the problem of community spread.
Here's what the county is proposing: limiting capacity at larger retail stores like Target, Walmart, and Costco to 30%. Smaller stores like mom and pop shops will be limited to 50%. Essential workers staying in Maui County longer than a day would need to be tested prior to arrival, and all travelers must download the Aloha Safe Alert contact tracing app and show it to screeners. These rules still need to be approved by Governor Ige. For This Is Now, I'm Lacey Denise.
As we first told you yesterday on This Is Now, the state is finalizing plans to open 2 mass vaccination clinics on Oahu. These clinics could dole out more than 1,000 doses a day. The 2 planned sites are the Blaisdell Center, which would likely be run by Queen's Health, while Hawaii Pacific Health would potentially work at Pier 2. The head of the Healthcare Association of Hawaii says the state is scheduled to receive 29,000 doses this week, but says the upcoming administration change in Washington adds a degree of uncertainty.
Now that makes it very challenging to plan in advance because people have to be scheduled, staff have to be there to give the vaccines. So if we had clarity about what was happening over the next 2 to 3 weeks, we don't need to know a month in advance, but it would be very helpful to know further in advance what we're getting.
New at noon, some troubling new headlines about the COVID-19 pandemic from around the world. NBC's Matt Bradley reports from Paris.
Starting in Japan, 4 travelers from Brazil were discovered to have yet another variant of this virus.
The more the virus spreads, the higher the chance of new changes to the virus.
This is troubling because it shares some of those same mutations that have been found in Britain and in South Africa that have caused this virus to replicate faster.
Right now, there is no evidence that variants are driving any element of severity. There is some evidence that variants may be increasing.
And that means that it could spread faster and possibly mutate faster. Next door in China, it looks as though a province just south of Beijing is going to be going into another lockdown out of fear of a surge in new cases. Now in Lebanon, same situation where they had a lockdown. Now they're going into a 24-hour curfew because they're worried that their health system is being overrun. This 11-day, 24-hour curfew was announced. People flooded into the streets to try to stock up to stay indoors for 11 days. And this has caused some officials to worry that the lockdown itself, by creating panic and chaos in the streets, may actually be contributing to spreading the disease even more. Matt Bradley, NBC News, Paris.
The Hawaiian Homes Commission chairman explained his plan for a casino to skeptical lawmakers yesterday. William Ila told the House Finance Committee that no other commercial activity could generate as much money as a casino to build more homes. He also clarified that the site DHHL wants to use along Roosevelt Road in Kapolei could not be used for houses because it's already zoned for commercial use. The casino proposal still needs to be approved by the legislature and governor, who has already come out publicly against it. New reaction to the news that UH will be hosting football games on campus in Manoa for the first time in history. Some neighbors aren't thrilled about it, but UH says it's an opportunity to boost school spirit and school revenues. Chelsea Davis has more.
The Bows have played at Aloha Stadium in Halawa since 1975, but the stadium's recent decision not to allow spectators prompted UH leaders to look for a plan B, and they found it in their backyard.
The University of Hawaii plans to transform Ching Field into its new home turf by September, adding seats, a scoreboard system, and a press box to make it suitable for Division I games and fans.
That sounds great to me. I mean, I live right here. I'd definitely be able to go more.
There are also questions as to what will be the impacts to noise and to traffic congestion.
Manoa Neighborhood Board Chair Dylan Armstrong says residents will ask UH leaders those questions at a board meeting on February 3rd.
The University of Hawaii is a large community. There's over 20,000 people here on a daily basis pre-pandemic just to go to UH as workers or students. But how can they also respect those of us who live here and have made this our home?
But while neighbors worry about the games, UH is worried about its budget. Last week, UH sent this letter blasting the stadium authority's decision to ban all fans indefinitely, wiping out badly needed revenue. By moving to Manoa, UH will avoid paying rent and gets to keep all the money from parking, tickets, and concessions. Instead of Aloha Stadium's 50,000 seats, Ching Field could only hold 2,500. The athletics director said this would offer a more intimate experience for our fans. The cost estimate for the renovation hasn't been released, but former UH football player and coach Rich Miano calls it an investment and sees the field as a new entertainment venue.
I think this is going to be one of the best pieces of news in terms of revenue producing opportunities for the University of Hawaii, and I think that the fans will enjoy this experience immensely. The students just walking down from the dormitories, you know, people getting into those parking lots and tailgating overlooking Cook Field, and it's just something that I thought from the very beginning.
UH hopes to have the field ready for next fall season's opener on September 4th against Portland State. The Rainbow Warriors will use the field for at least 3 seasons or until a new Aloha Stadium is built. Chelsea Davis, Hawaii News Now.
Thank you, Chelsea. Is it the weekend yet? Really?
You wish.
I know, right? It's only Tuesday. But let's see how the weather's shaping up. Here's Guy Hoggy.
Aloha on this Tuesday. We've got light winds taking over the state, and we have another cold front coming in. In fact, a series of cold fronts will be moving through the state, with the most vigorous one coming in between Sunday night and Monday. Otherwise, we're not going to see a whole lot of rain. With those cold fronts, though, we'll see a few more windward and Mauka showers. And as those cold fronts pass by, they'll cut into the winds. So the winds will be running soft and slow today, and that will lead to maybe some afternoon clouds building up, perhaps a few spotty showers late today, but really not a whole lot of rain expected. A lot of surf is expected, though, a series of big swells coming into north and west shores. Today, we've got one swell peaking and another one coming in by tomorrow that will keep wave heights elevated, and high surf alerts will remain posted. It's going to be a dangerous situation for several days for north and west shores, better left to the professionals. Now, for those guys, though, conditions will be good today because the winds will be light. Basically beach weather today, tomorrow as well. That weak front will bring in a few light showers, another weak front coming in on Friday, and again, that more vigorous front with more rain coming in Sunday into Monday. Keep it here on Hawaii News Now. We'll have all your severe weather updates.
Japan's prime minister insists the Olympic Games will be safe. Selena Wang has the very latest.
Tokyo Olympic officials say they're still committed to holding the Games this summer, even as Japan deals with a vicious wave of COVID-19. The government is preparing to expand the state of emergency beyond the Tokyo area. Even though the government does not have any legal means to enforce COVID-19 restrictions, this declaration allows the government to urge residents to stay inside and for businesses to shorten their hours. Daily cases in Japan grow in the thousands each day as hospitals are under increasing strain. Public support for the Olympics is waning, yet the Prime Minister has reiterated that the Games will be held safely and securely. The Olympics are now just over 6 months away, and it's still not clear what these games will look like. Officials have said that they will be simplified games with pared back opening and closing ceremonies, but we still don't know if there's going to be any international fans allowed. The country currently has a ban on foreign entry in order to curb the spread of COVID-19. The Prime Minister's approval rating has also dropped dramatically over his handling of the pandemic, which one health expert described to me as, quote, slow and confusing. But the stakes are high here. The Tokyo Olympics are set to be the most expensive summer games on record at $15.4 billion. Selena Wang, CNN, Tokyo.
12-time Olympic medalist Dara Torres talked to us on Sunrise. Here's a portion of her chat with Steve.
This is very exciting. Dara, we're counting the days as we get towards the Olympic Games. Your thoughts as you look forward to what is to come?
Oh, I think it's been very difficult on the athletes knowing that they've been focused on 2020 their whole lives. And that's, sort of the time frame of what they thought that they were going to be competing in the Olympic Games. And so to have it postponed a year is tough on them. But the good thing is that everyone's in the same situation. So actually, if you can turn your line of thinking and think about, okay, well, now I have a whole nother year to train and be the best that I can be, you can turn a negative into a positive. So hopefully a lot of the athletes are thinking that way.
Yeah, you've been a part of so many of these moments. You're the only swimmer to represent us in 5 Olympic Games. What are you looking forward to as far as seeing the pool or whatever it is with our American athletes?
Well, I'm just looking forward to seeing how much faster and stronger that they're going to be, no matter what sport it is. And I know that there's some standouts in swimming. You always have the Katie Ledeckis who are going to do great, and Simone Manuel. But there's an unbelievable male swimmer named Caleb Dressel, who's really just off the charts right now and breaking world records right and left. And he's going to be the big name on the men's side for the U.S. team.
Dara, would you have concerns going in?
No, I wouldn't. I know that they've had a year now to sort of reevaluate and figure out how to make it safe and best for the athletes. So, I think the athletes are just psyched for the summer to get here.
Really cool interview there. You can see it on our H&N digital platforms. We keep talking about these food mashups, these snack mashups, and we got another one for you. This time it's Oreos. We all know what Oreos are, and we all know what brownies are, so meet their love child, Brookio! The tasty treat features Oreo's original chocolate wafer with a 3-layered filling, brownie cream, original cream, and cookie dough cream. Yum, yum, and yum. Oreos started in 1912. 100 years later, They really got into the flavor game. So since 2012, they've released 65 new flavors. Some really interesting ones too: jelly donut, wasabi, candy corn, gross, and oh my gosh, hot chicken wing. I'd try it.
Wasabi, interesting.
Yeah.
And did you guys mail back and return a lot of your Christmas gifts? Well, you're not
never.
alone. UPS says it experienced a record-setting week of returns after the 2020 holiday season. That's 5 back-to-back days of near-record returns, totaling almost 9 million returns. That's a 23% increase compared to the year before.
Well, I would never return anything.
Even if you couldn't use it, or...
I'm just joking.
Oh.
Give me that gift card. Thank you.
And it's no secret, you guys, that the Koko Crater Trail is in need of some major repairs. Here's Sammy Salina with an update.
Koko Crater Tramway is an incredibly popular hike, and if you've taken this steep climb, you've probably noticed it's been almost loved to death. Well, an agreement between the city and county of Honolulu and the Coconut Coalition reached an agreement to facilitate repairs to the tramway. The city is providing the $74,000 in supplies. The coalition is providing the volunteer manpower. There's more than 1,000 wooden ties, and all of them have experienced significant erosion since the deactivation of the former military installation. The coalition says nearly 300,000 people utilized the tramway in 2019. And that year, the city and the mayor allocated $1 million towards long-term and immediate repairs to the tramway. And now they are asking for the public's help.
So we're asking volunteers if they want to come on by and, before their workout, after their workout. We have a pile of gravel here and down there, and they can fill up the buckets. Usually there'll be an orange flag where we want the gravel poured, and you can just carry 1 or 2 buckets up and pour them where they have them marked, and that will totally help with everything that we're trying to do here.
Just look up the Coconut Coalition on Google, Facebook, or Instagram. They definitely need volunteers. So if you're in need of a workout and want to help out the community, this is a great way to do both. Sammy Salina for This Is Now.
Have you done Koko Head before?
You know what? I actually haven't, and I just did Diamond Head for the first time in 10 years of living here last year with Mahea, with all our camera gear and everything. It was a lot of fun. I need to do Koko Head. You?
Oh yeah, a lot, but it's a workout. So I can't imagine those volunteers carrying up those buckets of rocks, and so thank you to them.
TMI information about me. I saw our story about bees on Koko Head, and it really brought the fear in. I do not like bees at all, so that's a standoff.
It's part of the experience, John.
Oh, no, thank you. Well, let's see what the internet is talking about today,
That's
right?
That's right. This is really cool. So here is a story many of you are clicking on our H&N digital platforms. 2 dogs are sniffing out invasive species on a remote Pacific island. So their names are Guinness and Solo. They are the first canine detection team to check for yellow crazy ants, that's what they're called, at Johnston Atoll National Wildlife Refuge. Now that place will eventually be home to a seabird colony. The ants can spray acid that can severely injure the birds. So the dogs and the crew will restore the habitat over the coming months.
Acid spraying ants?
I know.
Yikes. Okay,
Keep
I'm no
them
longer
there.
afraid of bees. Take that out. Acid spraying ants is my new phobia. Let's stick with that. I'll do Koko Head with you anytime, Ash.
All right, deal.
Cool. That's going to do it for This Is Now on this. It's only Tuesday? What? All right. We'll be back tomorrow, Wednesday, right here at This Is Now at noon on KHNL and all your digital platforms. Wanted to remind you that we also have a YouTube page that we post This Is Now to every day. So if you miss us, you can just Google us on YouTube or search us on YouTube. We're right there, posted every day, and we hope to see you there. You guys have a safe afternoon. Ashley will be back at 4 on KHNL for First at 4. Have a good one.